Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm going to be showing you a very simple eyebrow routine. I think it's perfect for beginners and it's fairly easy to follow along to. Don't forget to like and subscribe and go ahead and ring the bell so that you can get a notification of every new video that I post. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. To get started, I have nothing on my brows. That explains why I have a full face and no brows on. I know I look a little crazy. That's okay, we're gonna fix that. The products that I'm going to be using today I think are best for beginners. I think that eyebrow pencils are the easiest to use. I think pomades are a lot harder to use than eyebrow pencils, of course, and although I think powder is also much easier to use, I just think that starting with pencils is great. Next, I also have the ABH Brow Gel. This is just in clear. It's just, if it were a spoolie, looks like a mascara wand, but with clear brow gel. And then I also have the Benefit Highbrow, and this is just a highlighting crayon. So it's just as if it were a giant concealer crayon, but it is meant for under your eyebrows, of course. And lastly, I just have a super flat shader brush as so. Okay, to get started, I have two different colors. So the first pencil that I have is the ABH Brow Wiz, and then the second pencil that I have is the Nyx Mirco Brow pencil. So the ABH one is in the color dark brown. Dark brown is definitely a lot darker than the dark brown pomade, but if you were to combine the dark brown pomade to the pencil, it's a pretty good combination. And then the color that I'm going to be using in the Nyx Brow pencil is chocolate. So this is a little lighter, has a more of a warm undertone. So the one up here is chocolate, the one down here is a dark brown. Okay, I am going to be using a smaller mirror so that I can get closer up because my mirror's a little farther away, so I do want to get a little closer up, but I will try my best not to get it in the shot. So I'm going to start with the ABH Brow Wiz pencil in the color dark brown again, and I'm going to start by brushing my eyebrows up with my spoolie this way. Now, because this is a darker color, I'm going to take this from the about 3/4 in and or 3/4 away from the end of my brow all the way to the tip of my brow. So there I just went ahead and followed the natural or just followed the line of my natural brow. Next, I'm going to take the NYX pencil and I'm going to use this to complete the inner portion of my eyebrow. So the reason why I'm going with a lighter color is so that it gives me a more natural look. And so I'm going to be repeating the same thing, following the natural shape of my brow. Okay, now that I have the bottom line of my eyebrow completed, this is generally when I like to take my tweezers and clean up underneath my brows. I generally like to maintain the cleanliness of my brows, and then whenever I want to adjust the shape of them, I will go and get them done. But I usually just try to keep them as clean as possible underneath. So now that I have this line drawn out and I know where my natural brow is, and typically where I like to draw them in, I will just go ahead and pluck away the other hairs.
You're doing good, baby.
Thank you. The flash is killing me. I feel like I might fuck up. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
The mirror's not covering?
No.
Okay, now that I have plucked away all the little tiny hairs that I wanted to get rid of, I'm gonna go back in with the ABH Brow Pencil, and I'm gonna take this spoolie, and then now I'm going to brush my eyebrow hairs down. Okay, now I want to trace the natural shape of my brow once again. I usually typically will only fill in areas that are sparse, but for the most part I do like to follow the natural shape of my brow because it gives a much nicer and cleaner appearance of a more natural brow with just a little bit of color for emphasis, of course. So gonna take that and draw a line from the same part that so like 3/4 from the outer portion of my eyebrow, and start from there drawing a line across all the way to connect with the point over here. Okay, now that I've drawn that line, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in. I did start filling in, and then I realized that I forgot to let you guys know that I was starting to fill in my brow. But I'm just gonna fill in the outer portion of my brow with the same ABH dark brown pencil. And you don't want to color this in. The best way to do this is just light strokes to give the appearance of more brow hair to make your brows look fuller. And don't forget to also go in with the spoolie on the end of your pencil so that you can brush out any excess amounts of color that maybe your pencil let off on your brow, of course. Okay, now moving on to the inner portion of the eyebrow. Now I'm going to go in with the NYX brow pencil in the color chocolate. Now, I'm going to take this in, again, hair-like strokes in the inner portion of my brow, and I'm going to start by where I drew that bottom line and drawing up. So feathering up as if I was just giving myself a few more hairs, of course, or the appearance of hairs. And the reason why I use a lighter color in the inner portion of my eyebrow is because I like the look of a fuller but natural brow. And I think that the one thing that can give away that your brows are not natural is having a blocky look in the inner portion of your eyebrow, of course. So once I've drawn on enough strokes and filled in with the most color that I want, I'm going to go ahead and take the spoolie and just brush through my hairs just like so. Okay, now I'm going to finish the other eyebrow off camera, and we're going to come right back and I'm going to show you how I clean up my brows and my favorite ways to highlight the brow bone. Okay, I completed the other eyebrow off camera, so now I want to clean up my brows just a little bit. I typically like to go in with a foundation rather than a concealer because a foundation won't disrupt the foundation that I already have on my face. Of course, this is a lot easier to do if you don't have your base already completed, but for the purposes of this video, I wanted to at least have my face on if I wasn't gonna have any eyebrows on. So I have the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation on my skin today, so I'm just gonna take some of that on the back of my hand, and now I'm gonna go in with that brush that I previously stated, which is the flat shader brush, and I'm gonna just take that, rub a little bit onto my brush, not much at all. So I'm just gonna rub that out and get the least amount as possible because I don't want to give myself any harsh lines, of course. So the places that I like to clean up with my foundation are above my eyebrow because I do like to go in with the Benefit Highbrow underneath my eyebrow, of course. But I sometimes will clean in the inner portion with this as well. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just draw, or not draw, but shade in the area following along the line that I had previously drawn on the point of my brow. So it is just my natural lash line. And when you use the foundation, it gives a much more natural and a cleaner look, of course. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing for the top. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the top of my brow. And just grab a little bit of that foundation. And again, conceal any bit of color that might have seeped out along the lines. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now like I said, I'm going to also go ahead and clean up under my brow in the inner portion of my brow with the foundation as well. This should be the easiest to do because I'm just going to hold the brush upright like this and shade underneath. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the Benefit Eyebrow, and I'm only going to take this underneath the arches of my brow, and I'm only going to apply very, very little amounts of it, but I want to apply that just right at the arches of my brow. This does have a very, very strong pink undertone, but I only take it underneath the arches of my brow because that's where I would typically put highlighter at, and I'm going to cover it with highlighter anyway. I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm going to blend that out following the shape of my brow. Okay, now for my favorite part is adding a brow bone highlight. I'm going to take this really, really tiny little brush. It's just a fluffy shader brush, and I'm going to take my favorite highlighter, Becca Champagne Pop highlighter, and just take that, dust it off, and pack that onto the Benefit Eyebrow that I previously blended out underneath my arch. Okay, now to set everything in place, I'm going to take my ABH Brow Gel and brush that through my eyebrows. You want to make sure you go in with a light hand with this because you don't want to disrupt any of the color, especially the ABH Brow Wiz pencil because it is very, very waxy. But a brow gel is not necessary. It just holds your brow hairs in place and gives you the appearance of fuller brows. And that's it for this week's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so that you can get a notification of every new video that I post, which is weekly, of course. Also, leave a comment down below if you want more videos like this. I do plan on doing one-step tutorial videos, especially on things like my foundation routine and applying false lashes. But if there's anything more in particular that you all would like to see, please leave a comment down below. And I'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.